before he stepped onto his first set as an actor.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break.
It's time to work on becoming an actor with David Sarcusa. David started his acting, screenwriting, and movie production career in 2021, producing his first full-length feature film, which he wrote, produced, and starred in The Uncivil War, America Divided, within a year of entering the business. And he's the host of Becoming an Actor on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Now, here's your local, not yet famous, not quite Hollywood star, David Sarcusa.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the first ever Becoming an Actor on the Tan Talk Network on 1340 AM and 106.1 FM. I'm your host, David Sarcusa, and I'm going to walk you through the crazy process of how I first became an actor and all of the little tricks and treats that I picked up along the way. There have been quite a few of them. So please feel free to call in at any time to talk about anything related to acting, movies, crew, or anything entertainment related, really. Our call-in number, as always, is 727-441-3000. Again, 727-441-3000.
And that didn't actually take long. You've already got one caller.
Well, look at that. Okay, well, that was fast. That's wonderful. Who's on the line?
Pam,
Hey, David, this is Pamela Warner.
Pamela, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to hear your words of wisdom.
Well, thank you. I'm going to certainly do my best to throw them out there and see if we can help out in some way. So what do you have for us tonight, Pam?
Well, I've got a neighbor that actually her teenager is looking at wanting to get into acting.
Okay.
And just trying to see any advice on what a newbie would be able to, or the best route for somebody to start doing it to get themselves promoted. It seems like you've done very well off the bat right now. So just anything that you can help out, whether it's, certain headshot companies or how to get your name out there to be able to start, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
to be able to start getting interviews and tryouts and stuff for different movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, that's wonderful that you call and ask about that, because that is really the first episode that we're going to cover today. That is a big part of it. So yeah, I will thank you so much for the call, and I will definitely jump into that right now.
Excellent.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you.
All righty. So yeah, that's a great question. And actually my topic today is, how did I get into acting? How hard is it to do so? And then why this show? Why have they even started this show? So that is a perfect question to just leap right into it. And the first thing I'll start with is, how did I get into it? Because that's the first thing that everybody asks me. Oh, Dave, wow, you retired, and then, oh man, now you're doing acting and you're trying to get into movies. And how did this happen? Were you confused? Is this like a midlife crisis thing? No, it's not. I was looking for something fun to do after I retired from my insurance career, and I did kind of stumble into it. So to Pam's question, how difficult is it to get into it? It's not difficult to get into. It's difficult, I would say, to do the right way. And the thing is, there's no really good how-to book out there. There are some great books. I've read a bunch of them. And there are certainly books that can help you, that can give you some ideas. One of the things that I would say is it's really easier to do than you might think. All right. So first of all, why this show? Well, the reason for the show is because I jumped into it and as I got into it, I got on set and I started talking with people, and there was all sorts of information that people were giving me. And I was like, oh man, I wish I'd known this 2 months ago. I wish I'd known this 5 months ago. And I thought it would be so great if I could get this information. I'll give you an example here. So, story that I've told before. I actually told this on my good friend Devin's Be Local Buzz show, which that is, I believe, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Please don't kill me if I got that wrong, Devin. But so I am on the set for a commercial, right? It's a little commercial. It paid decent money as far as acting jobs go in Florida. But I probably wouldn't even really remember this commercial, except while I'm there, everyone's talking. Everybody's so nice, right? And I meet a couple of people here, a few people there. And then one lady kind of makes her way over to where I'm sitting. And we end up in the same spot and we start talking. Lovely young lady, very nice, Dana Anderwald. And I'm talking to her, and she tells me that she lives down in the South Florida area. I tell her that, I'm in, I believe I said countryside, which probably threw her off. And I said, yeah, I'm always driving down to Miami for jobs, or I'm going to Atlanta. It's so much drive time. And she said, oh, I just wish I lived in Pinellas. I mean, that's the Mecca. And I said, whoa, what? The Mecca? Pinellas, that's me. Clearwater, Tampa area, Pinellas, that's me. And she said, oh, yeah, then you must know about all the great movies that they shoot there. They shoot 10, 12, 14 Hallmark and Lifetime movies a year there. And I said, what? No, I had no idea, because I had just gotten into the business. And honestly, I've still just got into the business. I mean, I'm only a year and a half into this. So she says, well, yeah, you've got to talk to Carly Lowland. And I said, oh, okay. I don't know who Carly is, but yeah, I want to talk to Carly Lowland. Absolutely. She said, yes, tell her that Dana said hi. She's the most wonderful person. She'll help you out. She'll get you on. So at this point, I barely even knew what a casting director was, right? So I reach out to Carly, super nice lady. She's like, oh, yeah, I can try and help you get on. She said, I do, all the background work for a lot of the Lifetime and Hallmark movies. I said, that's fantastic. I'd love to do it. Within a month or two, there I am on set. In fact, I believe one of the very first ones I did, I happened to be on set with Sean Astin.
Rudy.
Rudy, yeah, you know.
And slightly less well-known fact is this: both of his parents were fantastic actors in their own right.
Yes, they were.
His mom was Patty Duke, and his dad, the original Gomez Addams.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, an amazing guy, right? So there I am. I'm sitting on set with him, and so this all happens because Dana had said reach out to Carly. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm ready to do my first full-length feature movie, right? So I reach out to Carly because now I've made some connections from being on set. Carly says, oh, I know this lovely lady, Juliette Reeves. She's fantastic, wonderful human being. She'll help you out. I said, okay, because I need Hollywood stars. Carly said, let Juliette and I work on it. We'll come up with someone for you for your movie. Great. I sit back, I let them go to work. They bring me two incredible Hollywood stars, big time people. And you would know them if I said who they were. You'd know the shows that they were in, big time shows, right? Now it doesn't end up working out with those two stars, but they ended up bringing me to Musetta Vander, who is huge. I mean, this is fantastic for me, right? I lost my original two Hollywood stars, but I still have Musetta. She's been in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? She was in Wild Wild West. I mean, she's incredible, right? So I lose my two actors and I lose my production team at this time. I'm freaking out. What am I going to do? Well, I talked to Musetta. She said, I'm in. I love the movie, The Uncivil War, America Divided. She said, I love it. It's great. Let's move forward with it. I said, okay. The rest of the cast and crew, yeah, let's do it. So again, I go back to the contacts that I've made just from being on set, and I find Danny Roebuck. Danny Roebuck's been in all sorts of incredible movies, TV shows. Again, you would know him. U.S. Marshals, The Fugitive. He was in Matlock. So again, now I've got two huge Hollywood stars. Here I am in Clearwater, Florida. I've been in the business a year and a half. And somehow from Dana to Carly to Juliette, I now have two huge Hollywood stars that are going to be in my movie. I mean, this to me is amazing. But what it is to me is it's all about getting on set. Set time equals contacts. Okay, now, here's the thing. This is like the first day that you went to school and your mom sent you out the door and she said, okay, now you go out there and you be nice to everyone. You make friends. You say, please, you say, thank you. You're very polite. You're thoughtful. You're thankful to be there. That is what set is. All right. Now, I can't really speak for any of the other states out there. I've been on set in Georgia, in Kentucky, in LA, all wonderful people on those sets. But I mostly know Florida. And in the year and a half I've been here, everybody on set has been amazing. I mean, people are just so nice here, right? So if you're nice to everyone on set, if you don't push yourself on them, they are going to help you. And don't be embarrassed about saying that you're new to the business. Everyone knows that you have to start someplace. Nobody is going to give you a hard time about that. Okay. So back to the initial question. How is it that you get on set? That's the big thing, right? Because so we had the first caller is asking about, I've got my friend, they want to get involved. I'm saying get on set. You're going to meet all these wonderful people. Okay. How to get on set, though? Well, first of all, COVID changed everything, right? Everyone knows this in every part of our world, in every part of our life. COVID changed so much. One thing it also changed in a huge way is this business. I don't think I would have gotten into acting 5 years ago because for the most part, it was still, not entirely, because technology was changing it even at that time, but it was mostly go do live auditions. You're in a room with 50 people, 100 people, 200 people. Everyone's going for this part or that part. You don't find out anything for a long time. Post-COVID, everything has become online. To me, this is amazing, right? You can go to websites and you can do all of your auditioning right there on the websites. You can apply to tons of jobs, right? Because they want to see you. They want to have access to as many fantastic actors as they can. Because in the past, if you were auditioning in Orlando, maybe you had 50 people from Orlando, and maybe you had a couple of actors that were really big time, that were making some money. Maybe they were coming from Atlanta or Miami or somewhere else. But for the most part, you are competing against local talent. Now, this does mean that you're competing against a much, much bigger talent pool because you could have people auditioning from all over the United States, all over the world, really. But to me, now, the great thing is you could audition for 5, 10, 20 parts just from sitting in your office at your house, in your office study, you could do it in your bedroom. This does not need to be a big thing when you're starting out. All right. Now, remember, if you are an actor that has been doing this for years and years, you're like, Dave, this is so basic. Why am I listening to this? I get that. And don't take this the wrong way, but this show isn't for you. You already know how to do this. If you've been in this industry 10, 20, 30 years, you know what you're doing. You probably know more than I do. This is because I am new to this industry, but I'm not so new that I can't pass along some information to people who are just getting into it, right? So someone who says, Dave, I want to get into this industry. I need to know what to do, how to get into it. That's the person that I'm talking to, right? So for that person, for that neighbor who is looking to get into this industry, I found it incredibly easy to get in. Now, I did have the benefit of I'm not a starving actor. I had already gone out there. I had made my money. I owned some companies. I retired from them. So, I don't have to worry about starving on Wednesday if I spend all day on Monday auditioning for jobs instead of going out and working. So I do have a bit of a benefit there. That said, it is still so much easier today. I believe, even though I wasn't in acting prior to COVID, it just makes sense that it's much easier today to do so. And from the actors I've spoken to, they say, yes, absolutely, it is much easier. All right. So you say, oh, that's great, Dave, but what websites do I go to? Well, of course, with today's technology, when I first got into it, I started Googling what are the best sites to get acting jobs on. I found a bunch of them. I had to do the old test them and see routine, right? Because there's a lot of them out there, some of them big, some of them small. I started out with a number of different ones. Again, because I wasn't really worried about the money, I signed up for a bunch of them. I found early on that Backstage and Actors Access were the two largest websites that worked for me. Now, every website's going to have a different demographic that they do well for, or a different production that they do well for. I went mostly with Backstage. That was where I found the majority of my jobs. All right. But the reason that I started out getting jobs on Backstage is because they were mostly geared towards the jobs that I was looking for. Okay. And I'm going to get back to that in a second, because there's also casting networks. Casting networks tends to be, from what I've heard, more for the agents. All right. Not that you can't get jobs on it. Again, I found Backstage early on to be the best. I think Actors Access, now I'm trying to push a little bit more towards that. But we'll come back to that in a second, because before we get to that, we've got to get ready, right? The first thing we have to do before we even decide on any of this stuff is we have to figure out, how are we going to apply for these jobs? Dave, you're telling me to go to a website. What do I do? I write in my name and say I'm interested in getting a job, and then I start auditioning? No, it's not quite that easy, right? First thing is, every acting website out there, the first thing that they're going to ask for is, do you have a headshot? Right. That's the basics. Everyone, when you think about trying to get into acting, you think, what's the first thing I need? Headshots are the first thing. Oh, yeah. And I'm being motioned to. Yes.
Well, I was going to say, I know headshots are important, but I didn't think headshots would be more important than having like an acting reel.
Okay. So we're going to get the acting reels. Okay. That's a good question. Okay. So acting reels are a little tough to get to. All right. And the first thing everyone asks for is the headshot. Acting reel is going to come second, the sizzle reel, as they call it. Okay. And we'll get to the sizzle reel in a second. And
I couldn't think of the right term for it. Thank you.
No, all good. And I will explain why we go with headshots first. So the first thing is, headshots are asked on every single submission. It doesn't matter what it is. They're always going to ask for a headshot. And the easiest thing for you to do is get a headshot done. Right? Because everyone out there has an iPhone now, right? I don't know a single person that does not have an iPhone any longer.
I got a Droid.
All right. iPhone or Droid.
Okay, so wait, are you being specific just to iPhones, or is it smartphones?
Smartphone.
That's okay. That's better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So everyone out there has a smartphone. You can take a picture of yourself. You can upload it, right? So that's what every casting director is looking for. All right. They want a headshot, because sometimes even more important than your skill as an actor is looking the part, especially when you're first starting out, because a lot of the times when you're first starting out, you're going for background roles or student films, things like that. So the first thing they want to know is, if they need a good looking bald guy, 52 years old, perhaps, maybe someone I know would fit that description, right? Now, from there, they can start looking at, okay, acting reels, your sizzle reel, as they call it. Okay, let's see if you can act. Let's get you on the phone. And they can actually have you read for the part. They call it a side, right? A side. So not like a side, but a side. And you can read for it. So you don't need to necessarily present a demo reel or a sizzle reel. You can just read for the part, especially if they actually want to get on the phone with you and do a Zoom call or something like that. All right. So the first thing they need, and a lot of the times actors will not get a part and I'll say, I absolutely killed that audition. I don't understand how I didn't get that part. That is a mistake that actors make early on. Okay. Again, this is for people getting into the business. So that's who I'm talking to here. If you are new to the business, that's a mistake that I've heard a lot of people make. I made it early on. I thought, oh man, I crushed this interview. I'm so depressed I didn't get that job. And people started telling me, look, a lot of the times it had nothing to do with how you auditioned for the part. You might not have been tall enough. You might not have been short enough. You might not have had hair. You might have had too much hair. You might not have a Southern drawl and you don't have that accent in your repertoire yet. So there's a lot of things that it could have been. You might be a guy, they're looking for a girl. There's just certain things out there that you cannot change about yourself, that they're just going to quickly move on to the next person. So the first thing is, do not get heartbroken over every single interview or audition, You are not going to get every audition. You're not going to get a big majority of the auditions. You're going to get a small portion of them. That's fine, especially when you're starting out. All right. So again, we go back to the headshot. Starting out, if you don't have a lot of money, use your smartphone to take a picture and upload it. But before you do your first headshot, Google what they're looking for. Know what a casting director wants to see. Know how tight they want the picture to be. Don't take a picture of yourself at the beach full, head to toe. All right. You want to make sure that you crop it the way they're looking for and you give them the proper lighting, that you look for the type of role that you're going for. If you want girl next door, don't give a picture that's risque or shows you as sexy. Show the girl next door look. If you're looking for a clean cut part, don't show something where you're unshaven and you look like you're going for a part of a serial killer. I mean, you might be laughing about that, but people do it. They look at them all the time and they say, I don't understand why you're showing this look. This is not what you want. So promote and go with the picture, the headshot that says what type of part you are looking for. And you can have multiple headshots. It's very easy. Like I said, with the smartphones today, just make sure you Google what it is that they're looking for and then give that as your number one example. All right. So after you've got your headshots done, you can do a resume. But at this point, it's almost like, what's the point of the resume, right? You don't have anything to put on your resume yet. You haven't gotten any jobs yet. Your sizzle reel, your demo reel. All right, now let's get to that. Is a demo reel important? Yes, it is. Will people cast you without a demo reel? Yes, especially those initial roles that you're looking for. But you can just as easily do a demo reel with a smartphone. So it goes back to, again, Google it, make sure that you know what they're looking for. They're going to want you to hold the phone horizontal. They're going to ask for you potentially to use a reader. If you can't get a reader, there are actually websites you can go to where you can work with a reader virtually. Technology today, it's amazing the stuff that you can do, and you don't have to have a lot of money to do it. If you look around, there's a lot of ways to do it that don't require a lot of money. And you can update them as you get more roles and as you get money. So don't feel like you have to get everything done all at once, right? So for your demo reel, they're going to want from your waist up, maybe. They're going to want you to have good lighting. They're going to want to be able to see your face. That's what you're marketing, right? They're going to want to hear good volume. If you are trying to get a part and they hear you, they don't know what you're saying, that is not a good demo reel. So make sure you've got good volume. Make sure there's no distractions in the background. I love my Labrador. She's just adorable. Right? Labradoodles are I think I called her by the wrong thing. Labradoodle. I love my Labradoodle. She's incredible, right? But they don't want to see your Labradoodle running around in the background of your demo reel.
Unless the reel's for her specifically.
Yes, unless you're trying to do something with animals, but don't, because they're very difficult to work with. So no distractions, right? So again, if you Google something, you'll get 50 sites immediately that will tell you how to record a good demo reel. End of the day, keep it very simple. And don't worry if it's terrible. What? Don't worry if it's terrible? Yes, don't worry if it's terrible. You know why you shouldn't worry if it's terrible? Because we are our own worst critics. I guarantee you there is almost no chance that you're going to like your demo reel when it's done. I did my first demo reel, and I went out, I hired a director, I hired actors, I did it upright. I hated my demo reel when I looked at it. I couldn't even tell you why. I looked at it and I just said, oh God, that just looks awful. I have gotten a ton of compliments on that demo reel. Now, I'm sure it's a lot of people just being polite or sucking up or whatever, but the more that I've watched it, I really like it more and more now that I've gone on to watch it. Because when you look at something, it's tough to look at yourself objectively. Don't go to your friends and family to ask them what they think about it. If you know an actor, if you know someone that's been doing it for a while, but you're not tight with them, that's someone good to ask, because you're probably going to get a much more realistic opinion from them than you are your mom, who's going to say, oh, baby, you look so wonderful and this is so incredible. My mom loved my stuff. Anytime I was on film or on the radio or anything, she loved it. She's my mom. I loved her. She was the best. So, don't go to your friends and family. Go to someone that you think might be impartial. All right. And then again, don't worry if you feel it's terrible. It's just to give someone an example of what you can do. All right. So let's get to your first jobs. What are those jobs going to be? Dave, I want to learn how to be an actor, and you're telling me to do headshots and whatever, but I want to get in there and I want to be in the next Marvel movie. Yeah, so do I, right? Who doesn't?
Everybody does.
Everybody does, right? How many Marvel movies have I been in so far? Zero. I've been doing this a year and a half. People have been doing this 20, 30 years, have been in 0 Marvel movies. They don't need that many people in the Marvel movies. I know they look huge when they make them, but what is going to be your first job? Your first job is most likely going to be a student film or background. All right. And that is because they're looking for a specific look. And generally the specific look that they're looking for in student films or background is the look of a person who will work for free. That's you. Okay. If you are just starting out in this business and you can afford to do so, get onto as many sites as you can. This is where you're going to learn what the business is all about. Right now, you don't know what direction is. You don't know how to take direction. You don't know terminology that a director uses. You don't know terminology that a casting director uses. You don't know the terminology that basically anyone on a set uses. As soon as you get on set, you're going to hear them start saying things. Hey, I need a grip over here. I need a PA. What's a PA? Oh, that's a production assistant. Hey, there you go. You're a production assistant.
I got friends that work in the TV industry. One of my friends works for WWE. He's a PA.
There you go. Okay. So you cheater, you already know.
Yeah, I know.
But most people walking onto a set are not going to know who a PA is, what a PA does, who a grip is, what a grip does. So the important thing is that you get onto a set and you learn this stuff. And the best ones to do it are student films or background. Background, because you're going to be there with a lot of other people who are excited to be there and want to exchange ideas with you. And because you get to just sit back and not worry about anything. No one's going to ask you to give a big monologue. You don't have to know any lines. You don't have to know anything. For the most part, they're going to tell you where to stand, what to do, and you're going to be seen, hopefully, for 3 seconds in the movie, maybe the back of your head. Because you don't really care yet about getting into the movie. I mean, I know you do, but right now, all you're doing is gathering contacts and gathering information, because that first time you walk onto a set and you have to utter lines and you have to do blocking, which is the movement an actor does during or before or after saying a line, you want to know what you're doing. That is the time that you do not want to feel foolish. That is the time when you want to know if the director says, okay, we're getting a POV or we're getting an OTS, and you say, what's an OTS? Over the shoulder. Everyone's going to kind of groan and say, we've got a newbie on set. And that's not a big deal. I mean, everybody's learning. Like I said, nobody will really care. But usually, if you're already at the point where you're delivering lines, you should know some of the basic stuff. Okay. You should know over the shoulder, OTS. And this industry is famous for using all sorts of abbreviations. All right. So get onto a student film. Student films are great too, because with a student film, number one, they've got some of the best hardware in the industry. Because if you're shooting at, say, SCAD, Savannah College of Arts, or if you're shooting at the Ringling Arts Brothers Theater down south, or if you're shooting someplace in Orlando at one of the amazing universities over there, like Full Sail or something, you are shooting on some great technology. They're going to have fantastic cameras. And the best thing is, you're usually there with students who are learning. So a lot of the stuff is going to be discussed. Oh, what are we doing here? Well, we're shooting an OTS. Why are we shooting over the shoulder? Well, the reason we're shooting over the shoulder is because I just want a portion of this individual, because we've already shot the other side, and they're going to go through and they're going to explain everything. That is gold for you. If you are brand new to this industry, how could you not be thrilled to have a professor or have a first or second or third time director on set with you, telling you what to do? Because they're learning too. And you're going to see when they make mistakes, and they're going to talk about why they made the mistakes. And they're going to be excited to have you on set, because they don't care whether you're learning or just starting out or you're famous. They are just worried about passing their class and learning as much as possible. So student films and background, they are awesome for starting out. All right. So going back to my first call of the day, how do you get into it? Do not be upset if you get a student film to start out, or if you're getting background roles. Those are great. First of all, you could put it on your IMDb, so you've got some information there. And so now you don't look like a newbie. If you're worried about looking like one, if you don't want people to know that you're brand new to the industry, again, I would say don't worry about that. For the first year or 2 or 3 or 5, it doesn't matter. Everybody understands that everybody started out at this business at some point. So don't worry about being a newbie. Take those student film jobs, take the background, look for that. And the other nice thing is, after you do start getting better with these, a lot of the times these student films, they're just putting them into festivals at their school. So they may even throw you in and say, hey, let's give you a line. If you're excited to really just jump into it and you don't want to wait, background and student films, hey, there's a really good chance they're going to throw you a line. Hey, this actor didn't show up, because most of the people on those sets are working for free. So you get people all the time that don't show up. So you'll get somebody, a director says, hey, you know what? The attorney for this scene right here didn't show up. Do you want to learn these 2 lines and say them real quick? Yes, I would absolutely love it. And you know what happens if you screw up on a background role or a student film? They probably cut it from the film, or it's seen by a bunch of students and they say, student film. Yep. Yeah, that's, we expect that to happen every now and then. So it's no big deal. That is the best place to screw up, right? Because you don't want to get to that Marvel movie, if you're lucky enough to get there, and screw up there standing in front of Robert Downey Jr. or somebody. You want to screw up when it's practice. All right, so let's get back to the websites. First of all, there are lots of free services out there. I get it. If you're starting out, you don't have much money, you try and get on the website. Oh, the websites really restrict you. You can't do too much on the websites for free. They're only going to give you a certain number of headshots. They might only give you one video that you can upload. Who cares, right? You're just throwing your pictures up there, your headshots. If you can get a video on there as well and you can get something put together, fantastic. But again, you're just trying to get your headshots up there and then audition for as much as you can. Put in applications for everything you can. I remember I drove to Texas. For basically a brand new filmmaker. It was a short film. I went out there for 3 days to a tiny little town in Texas, my own money, my own hotel that I stayed in, and I worked for free. And it was fantastic. Great experience, great crew, great cast. I met a bunch of great people. Now, again, I can afford to do that. If you can't afford to do it, then just do the local stuff, right? But it was a great part for me because, again, it wasn't a huge production. So even though I was pretty new at the time, they're like, yeah, we'll give you a lead role. I was like, heck yeah, I'm getting into the car and driving out there right now. For those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you, I have a fear of flying. So I will talk quite a bit about how I got into my car and drove everywhere. I just got back from set in Kentucky and a set in LA. I drove to Kentucky and then to LA and then all the way back home. So I do a lot of driving. It's much easier if you can fly, but anyway, I'm wimpy. So there you go. So utilize the free services. All right. Put in your 2 or 3 headshots and then apply for everything you can. The other nice thing about doing the student and background stuff is sometimes you can get footage from there. So that's great because now you may have some footage. Now just remember, if they do a film, it's not like you finish the film, you wrap the film, it's all done on Thursday, you're getting footage on Friday. It could take them months in post-production. It could take them months to get the movie done. Then they have to find distribution. Then there's this, that, the other. It could take a year before they're completely done and they get you your footage, if they ever even get it to you, because a lot of the times they move on and they've got other bigger fish to fry. So if you get footage, that's great. The other great thing about doing some of these things like the background and the student films, you actually find out if you like acting. What, Dave? Come on, that's ridiculous. Who wouldn't love acting? Of course I love acting. Acting is fantastic. You get up there and, the camera's right in your face and you say your lines and you're a pirate or you're in space or you're doing all these incredible things. I'm going to be Phoebe on Friends, or I'm going to be James Spader in The Blacklist, and I'm going to do all these crazy things and it's going to be great. All my family's going to see me.
Johnny Depp and the Pirates.
Yeah. Johnny Depp and the Pirates. No, that is not what's going to happen.
Of it.
Huh? What's that?
There's no guarantees of it.
No guarantee. Well, what I can guarantee you is that is not going to happen initially. You might get there one day, unless, you're Steven Spielberg's kid or something. But what is most likely going to happen is you're going to find out if you like acting. And what I mean by that is you're going to find out that there are long, long days on set. You are going to have crazy hours that you're going to be working. You're going to do overnights. I literally my film that I finished in LA, Cursed Waters, big film out there by the Mahal brothers. I just finished this one. My last day on set ended at 5 a.m. The sun was coming up, and that was when we finished because we couldn't shoot any longer because the light was showing, because the sun was coming up, because it was a night shoot. So 5 a.m., I started driving home from LA to Clearwater. Those are crazy, crazy hours. And what was that for? That was for my 3 minutes of fame. How much film time will I get in Cursed Waters? I don't know, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It depends. What of my scenes gets cut, what stays in.
But the fact that you're willing to do that much driving to go from LA back here, I only have one response to that.
Holy shnikes.
Yes, that is absolutely right. Holy shnikes. It was a lot of driving, 4 days on the road. So, yeah, I mean, this industry requires you to go through a lot, right? So maybe your scene gets cut. Maybe you're not making any money. You're probably not making any money. I almost guarantee you are not making money when you start out. You have to remember your lines. There's lots of time that you have to put into memorizing lines. I'm getting ready for a film right now in Atlanta. I have 30, 40 lines that I've got to memorize. I'm working on memorizing those lines all the time. I've got another one coming up here in Florida, Velocity's Edge. I haven't gotten the finalized script yet. I'm going to have to start working on lines. I'm a big part in that one with a lot of fantastic actors. I've got to start working on lines. You may have 3, 4 productions coming up at a time. You have to work on all of those lines. So if you really like acting and you want to do it, then the next thing is you've got to prepare for it, right? So kind of what I'm talking about with the, memorizing your lines and the fact that you're not going to make any money. So you have to get yourself into a mindset. If you really want to be an actor, you have to get into a mindset. And what I mean by that, by preparing, is when you're getting ready to go to set, especially starting out, when you're background or you're in a student film, get ready, bring a book. Bring a fully charged phone and a charger. Bring a computer. Bring something with you to keep you busy, because I guarantee you are going to have so much downtime. I remember when I first got into it, I went down for a shoot in Miami, and I probably spent 8 hours in a parking lot outside of Joe Robbie Stadium before they finally shipped us over to a club. I spent another couple hours in that club. Then we walked outside of the club. I finally got my chance to shoot. Freezing cold outside that club in Miami. Of course, I didn't prepare for that because I thought it's Miami. It's going to be hot. No, freezing cold. But it was taking place in the summer, so you couldn't put on any clothing. Stood for more hours there. I think I left that set around 1 or 2 a.m. that time and started driving for home. So this happens a lot, right? So be prepared. First of all, have something to keep yourself busy. Now, remember, when you're on set, this is important time for you. If you're a newbie, you should be talking to cast members, crew members, whoever you can to network, to make friends, to be your usual bubbly self, like your mother said. Thank yous, pleases, you're welcomes, be nice to people. But there are just so many hours, you're going to be bored. The other thing, bring lots of wardrobe, because you're going to have lots of changes. And along with that, like I just said, bring warm clothes, or be prepared to take clothes off because you're going to be hot, you're going to be cold, it's going to be raining on you.
I'd rather have more layers for a setup. When you're going to a shoot, I'd rather have more layers and be overdressed than come up short and be freezing my you-know-what off.
Yes, I made the big mistake because I get cold very easily. Like I said, I thought Miami, it's going to be hot. Do not ever think something, because you never know if you're going to be indoors, outdoors, if they're going to jack up the AC indoors because they need it to be really cold in there for some reason. You just never know. So I always say overpack. Which I'm normally bad about. But so wardrobe, you're going to get this all the time. People are going to say, we need lots of different wardrobe for you. The big thing with wardrobe, if you don't know this, in movies, you cannot show any kind of a logo. In fact, if you're watching on Facebook right now, you'll see on my shirt, I have no logos on my shirt because...
Or on your hat either.
Well, on my hat, I've got it on the back.
No, I'm saying the hat on your head. There's no hat. There's no logos on that flat cap you're wearing, which, by the way, is a very nice touch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You don't see flat caps anymore.
Yes.
I've got two myself, and I don't wear them as often as I should.
Yes, and actually, so my logo is on the back though.
But you can't,
this one.
right? But you can't see it now if you're looking on Facebook and YouTube.
Right, and I would not wear this hat though if I was on set because it has my name on the back with actor or producer, that stuff. So I would not wear it. But yes, on the front, nothing. So the reason you cannot wear logos is because obviously, if you're doing a movie, they do not have the contract with that logoed company.
So for argument's sake, if I walk onto a set and I'm wearing a New York Mets hat, let's say, or a Tampa Bay Rays hat to keep it in the market, if I wear a Rays hat, or you can see the Nike check mark on the side of it, I can't wear it because there's no sponsorship with either the Rays or Nike.
Absolutely. Good chance you are going to get sued, or you're going to get someone on that set sued. Now, that wouldn't be your fault, though. That would be the set. They have to check that. They do their last looks, make sure nobody's wearing logos, that sort of thing. But you want to show that you're professional. So you show up with as much non-logo stuff as you can. Again, if you're on a budget, great place to get that. Walmart. Go to Walmart. You can pick up cheap clothing. I go through Walmart all the time, and I'll just grab stuff that I think, you know what? I might use this on set one day. Go to a thrift store. Oh, man, I just was on set in LA, and I spent a fortune on my wardrobe. I found out that most of the other actors, the smarter actors, they went and they bought their own wardrobe. They had it checked over and okayed by the production, but they saved a fortune by doing it that way. So always have lots of wardrobe ready to go. Food and drinks. This is important. Food and drinks. If you do not bring your own food and drinks to set, there is a good chance you are going to starve or die of thirst. Why is that? Well, so they have something called Crafty on every set, and that is for the talent. Unfortunately, you are not talent, not when you're starting out. No, you may feel talented, but talent refers to the top cast. Now, a lot of the times, some of the bigger productions will offer Crafty to the background or to the extras or whatnot. But usually, all of the good stuff is going to the main talent. So just don't risk it. Bring something with yourself. Bring a cooler if you need to. Usually you can find a place in holding where the background stays. You can find a place that you can put a cooler, or you can put a small duffel bag or something. Bring some protein bars, bring some waters, bring some sodas, whatever you need to. Trust me, that will make you very happy if you do that. All right. So again, we talked about networking already. This is a business. It is a business. Let me say that one more time. This is a business. You are now marketing yourself. You are the brand, right? We were just talking about some of those big companies. We won't say the names so I don't get sued, but you are your brand. You have to get your name out there any way you can. So I do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like I actually give away sunshades, sunshields, protectors for your car, because I put my name on them and that I'm an actor and a producer, because I've got the money and I can do that, right? You don't have to go to that extent. There's lots of things that you can do to network yourself. And it goes back to being nice to people. So here's a big one. And not that I would not have not been nice to anyone. And I think I always have been in this business, and I've always been trying to help people. But here is a big one that I have come to realize. And that is a PA today may be your director tomorrow. It is amazing how many people, especially in Florida, we're a smaller market, right? So a lot of the individuals in Florida work all types of different jobs. And this is a great thing to do too, because it's going to be helpful to you. If you work some crew positions, if you offer to be a PA on set, you get to see a lot of things that you might not get to see as an actor. If you're sitting and holding the whole time in background and you don't see what's going on out at set, well, a production assistant gets to go pretty much everywhere because they're sending them running everywhere. Hey, get water for this talent. This star, Masetta Vander, needs a water. Please bring that to her. Danny Roebuck really likes, Dr. Pepper. Get him a Dr. Pepper. Okay, yes, sir. Running to do that. We need you to help out over here. Can you go grab my script from over there? Yes, sir. Got it. Yes, ma'am. So what we find is a lot of the times a production assistant today, they might be a director just helping out a friend. Maybe a grip got a call at the last second and said, hey, can you help out on this from an executive producer? Yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything today. I'll come help you out, buddy. 2 weeks later, you show up, and that individual is now the director of photography on that set. Everybody in this industry works a lot of different jobs, wears a lot of different hats. So if you think, this guy's a PA, a production assistant, I can be rude to him. First of all, I mean, come on, right? Why? Why put that out into the universe? But second of all, there's a darn good chance that you may get your comeuppance for that. So just a thought. So I would say sign up with Backstage first. If it were me going back and doing it again, like I said, I signed up for, I think, 4 or 5 casting sites immediately right out of the gun. I would go back. I would start probably with Backstage because I think that is where I see the most student productions and the most background work advertised. Actors Access, I think, has bigger roles to it. It's a little tougher to get those, though, because now they are going to look for your sizzle or demo reel. They're going to look for actors who are maybe a little bit more advanced. They're going to have you send in a side. They're going to have you audition for the part. Hey, do this 1-minute monologue from this character or read for the detective. If you could have a reader do it with you, that would be wonderful because we want to hear them deliver the line and then how you respond to it. So I would say start with Backstage, but really find the one that works for you. I have found a lot of people out there that say, Backstage, that's terrible. Actors Access, that's the way to go. Or Casting Networks. Oh, Casting Networks is the best. I don't get anything off of Backstage. It really just depends. Something is going to work for you. If you're looking for my personal recommendation, starting out, I'd say Backstage, but you could try any of them. I think you'll do very well with them. Just put yourself out there. Look for the jobs you think you can get on. Shoot for the ones you don't think you can get on. I like to have a description of myself canned, ready to go. So when I am going ahead to audition for something and submit for a role, I just copy my little canned speech of, I'm a retired business owner. I've been at this for 1.5 years. I stay in shape with blah, 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 blah. Here's my contact info. Please let me know if I can provide any other information for you. And then I drop that. I just copy and paste it into my Backstage account or my Casting Networks or my Actors Access, and off it goes. And then I can audition for 4, 5, 6 roles at a time, right? The other thing is, do not forget about Facebook. Facebook is a big one. Now, I'll tell you, I don't know that I maybe have gotten 1 or 2 jobs off of Facebook. I have not gotten a lot off Facebook. And oh boy, I already hear the music coming up. So that was crazy. The time just flew by. I still had a bunch of information I wanted to get to, but that's okay.
But that's what happens, though. Time flies when you have good material. And if you missed out on anything, don't worry. We will have the podcast up soon. You can check it out on YouTube as well. That's archived immediately. And make sure you tune in right here, same time, same place, same channel, every Tuesday night, 6 to 7.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And next week, we're going to talk about a lot more stuff. Will I have guests in the future, or will I be on location? I believe so. Yes and yes. So I'm looking forward to talking to you all next week.